Yo, 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 what's up, everybody? If you got a fish problem, yo, I'll solve it. Check out my tanks and stuff while the community resolves it. Fish, baby. Doom, 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 doom. Different than Queen. How is everybody doing today? You doing well? I hope you're doing well. Let's see who's in here bright and early. This is a surprise stream just to answer your questions, to get the juices flowing. I was in prime time aquatic stream last night. We had so many gall darn good questions and fun things going on that I just decided, you know what, let's continue that. And if you have a question, um, hit the @ sign and then the secret history living in your aquarium. Or if you're a member, then you're in bright green on my thing anyhow. Nature Aquariums, rice baby. Ding 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 madadaka. 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 Yeah, that'll work. S, what's up? Hmm. Let's see here. Patty, what's going on? Fish and Tank Ticks, what is up? 503 Aquatics, how are you doing, Shanna? Xanadu, what's up, my friend? Isaiah Beckers, hello. Um, T-Bone, g'day, mate. Pete, g'day, mate. Meat, mott. Oh, I don't need those. Let's see here. Alan, what's up? Oh yeah, has anybody heard about the new purple corridor, purple laser corridors? Mr. Grumpy, bring me a dream. Doom 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 doom. Let's see here. Who else? New local Austin. Uh, Hulk, what's up? Sarah, Laura, Alyssa, Tiffany. Yeah, I'm glad that you are here, Tiffany. Because it's that's why I wanted to do this stream, was basically to see if anybody had questions, if anything was going on that I could help with, that I could hinder everybody with, that I could pester people with. That's what this is about. So yeah, Zelf, what's up? Leah, what is up? Danikin, hello. What up, buddy? Koi fish. Man, we got lots of people rolling in here tonight. Randy Roman. I hope I'm not going over anyone's stream. I haven't really noticed. Ian, what's up, man? Loria, 99. All right, we got. All right, I'll just stop listing names now. But um, yeah, Atkins says, I've been hearing about the purple lasers, haven't seen any pictures yet. Yeah, so what it is it's the Aeneas line, from what I've seen, heard, and it is a reflective iridescent line down the side, kind of like the orange lasers. I don't know that anybody's bred them thoroughly or anything, or started selectively breeding anything. But yeah, Mystery Snail Guardians, how's it going? I don't know why I see like Mystery Guardians of the Galaxy snails or something. I want to show you guys a couple things in the fish room, and please start asking questions if you have any about anything. Like, this is here to get your juices flowing, and just so that I am doing my due diligence in case I miss questions when I lost the phone. Tomorrow night we'll be finishing up the rest of the comments on the aquascapes. On the top aquascapes, we'll be going through any videos or comments they have, and then we'll go over the judge comments. And then if we have time and somebody's like, hey, I didn't see mine, but I want feedback, I'm so-and-so, we can go, we can hit those too. So that's the plan for tomorrow at 7:30, it being 5 p.m. currently. Let's turn around the camera every now and then, anyhow. Let's see, is that zoomed in all the way? I feel like we can do better. What's annoying is that you can, on StreamYard, you can't really do Oh no, what's going on here? In StreamYard, you can't really do a whole lot as far as controlling settings and zooming in and stability control or any exposure or sound stuff. Like right now, a lot of your comments kind of get cut off. But let's try. Let's try. Before I answer any questions, I just wanted to show you guys a lot of people saw my quarry, or basically my nano tank setup for colony breeding, which means breeding where you don't have to take the parents out. Now, it's always going to go better if you take parents away from their children because foster care. No, it's always going to go better because the parents eat their babies because they're freaking fish, and that's what fish tend to do. Almost all species, not all, but almost all. So what we have here, what we're dealing with here, is a failure to communicate. And so there's no way to tell them not to eat their babies, so we have to remove them. Now, what I wanted to show you guys was the cleanliness or the clarity of the water, and then I put some other sticks in and stuff. There's no filtration, no heater. There is just a light, planned out substrate that's layered specifically. If you saw the video, you know how that went. And plants and then moss. And the moss is key because this moss was the actual pre-filter. I've started doing an experiment where I'm using moss wrapped around filters. That's duckweed there, but let me find a better example. Doot, 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 doot. Right up here, there's a good one. I actually have been wrapping moss around filter intakes so I can just snap them on and they're ready to go, and they're just like filter media, only all natural, and then I'm ready. I've got my stuff ready to go to cycle a tank like without having to worry about anything. There's the big fat mama that was in the picture. Look at this Stiphodon bird song. She is a whale of a lady. She needs to give birth or have about 3,000 little eggs that are the size of, I mean, not even the size of baby brine shrimp eggs. They're smaller than that. And then they go out to sea and have babies. There's Daddy. He looks like Kermit the Frog here. He's hanging out in the corner. Oh, also, I wanted to tell you guys before I jump into the question train too, and we can look around more stuff. We've also got my fish, my gouramis, the beautiful albino paradise fish. They are spawning and have laid eggs, so I took half of the eggs and half the eggs are in here. My gouramis, my powder blue gouramis, are spawning also, and they've had bubble nests every day, and they actually had a few eggs, but then I watched, and as I was, I guess I stressed them out because she ate them as I was watching this little lady. But the male is a beautiful color, so if he comes around this part of town, I'll film him. And you can see she's got yellow and green on the margins of her fins, so that's another sign that they're colored up for spawning. Now here is the male, and you know that they're supposed to be blue, hence the term powdered blue dwarf gouramis. So look at all that red he's got right now. I mean, he's not even as colored up as he can get. But the other thing is his head is like inflated, and that sounds funny, but he's got sinus cavities, organs, and then gill flukes that he can expand, and it makes his head look a lot more rounded. So you can tell that they're getting ready to spawn when that happens. And generally, the female will actually start to look more aerodynamic. She will start to get kind of a pointy nose. And again, in the video, it goes over body language that's like what's problematic behavior versus what is a decent, okay behavior. Danikin, thank you so much for the $20 for the new phone fund, man. You know they're not cheap, so I highly appreciate it, especially since I'm coming down there to Oregon. I would love to bring back some strange new fish and share fish or plants with y'all. and or try breeding some new stuff. I made some new room in the fish room, so thank you very much. He says new phone fund, much love, brother. Well, thank you so much, buddy. Also, we've got Hulk Logan's, sorry, Aquatics, joining as a member. Welcome aboard. Check out the community tab for the perks there. And then now that we've got quite a few members, we probably will do some streams that are members only. Once we have a number of questions or just like something to talk about backed up that maybe the rest of the community will see eventually, but I want to give you guys a shortcut on some of the projects that I had filmed that were lost on the phone. Some of that stuff, perhaps we can go over, like some of the, like for instance, these fish, I've been filming them daily since they hatched, the least killifish, or since they came out of mom. And I even had video of them coming out of the mother killifish. And I'm trying this experiment here in this filterless tank, heater and filterless tank, just set up with the moss from another tank. Nitrates have been at 0. So yeah. All right. The last thing before we get to the first question that's been down sitting below, was going to be that I tried a new product, and I asked this question last night on Primetime Aquatics. I said, what planaria treatment do you use? So, you know, with all the heat changes and then the cooling and all that stuff that happened this summer, I lost all but 3 of my panda loaches. So now my panda loaches aren't the primary. I mean, they're still of concern in this aquarium here, this 10-gallon, but they're not the primary. I mean, they're not. I'd care more for all the shrimp put together than all 3 loaches put together at this point. These loaches are 3 years old and they're adults. They're at the end of the lifespan they usually live anyways. But I've been trying to kill planaria in here because the loaches used to eat them and control them. And so I bought some stuff from Japan, from Nippon, as it may be known, if you're one of those people who likes to correct people, called No Planaria. And what I found interesting about this is the active ingredient is betel nut. And betel nut is this gnarly red nut. It's like from a palm tree. And you chew on it and you squeeze lime or lemon or anything like citric acid, anything real acidic into your mouth. And then you chew on it kind of like tobacco chew, like you do that, and it gets people high. And it's used all throughout the Pacific Islands and Southeast Asia, and it's illegal in the US and many other places. But the main ingredient of this is just betel nut extract, which I just find weird. And it's not bright red, which I also find weird. So yeah. All right, let's see here. Holy cow, you guys are making it rain, and I am so grateful to have you. Kate says, sorry to bother you about this again, but I'm still losing guppies on the regular. My GH is 120, KH 120, pH 7.5, near nitrate both came up as 0 parts per million. Temp is 72. That temp is a little low. I would get the temp up. The GH and KH, I take it they're not actually 120 and 120. I'm assuming that you're actually Kate, that you actually that's like one of the drop system thing, and so it converts. But I know what you're saying. I know roughly. I think that would be like a KH of something like 10 or 12 and a GH of something like 10 or 12. So you should have plenty of hard water, which is interesting. If you're losing guppies, I think it's really important to figure out what is causing them. Like what do you see in their bodies is a change before they die? Do they have a hollow belly? Are they having clear poop? Are they what's going on? Are they hanging out at the top and gasping? Are they eating? All this stuff I feel like will help us narrow that down. And it's just tricky to know. One sec, let me read this 19. Oh, Laura, thank you so much. Another cell phone fund, 1999. You are so kind. I appreciate it. I did buy the new cell phone. I did go and spring for the uh, whatever it is, $1,300 cell phone, so that hopefully this video, I think the video does have better color, honestly. Streaming always has issues, like you can't see the sparkles very well on any of these Madakas here, but I do think it's picking up color better, and it does have some cool features, like it's 2% zoomed in all the time, and it's 1% or 1 time zoom, 2 times zoom, and 10 times zoom are all automatically already there. So when I switch over sizes, it doesn't have to like adjust and try to focus. So there's that. Now with those guppies, I would also be careful that one, they don't have guppy wasting disease or some sort of belly issue like a parasite in their belly. I would also, here's the male albino um, paradise fish, or as they're sometimes called, kissing gourami. Um, Look at how pretty he is. They're not. These are the fish that I used to hold, and they'd come up and swim into my hand. They're not in the mood for that lately. They're pretty defensive. Let's see if he does it. Nope. So I mean, he comes back to my hand and everything, but he was biting my hand yesterday, and he had babies right in here, and they're all gone now. So I think he might have let the rosy barbs eat them, unfortunately. But we do have them floating in this tank in between the duckweed and stuff. You can probably see them. Yeah, this camera focus is way better, way quicker, so that's nice. But I do greatly appreciate the support, guys. Just been doing the graphic design stuff and the fish stuff, and you know, sometimes you can only do so much, so then certain content doesn't get made or whatnot. But the fact that I lost some of the content didn't help anything, and I'm trying to get back caught up working on the stuff that was lost. Also, these guys are doing great. The little baby ones, see the smaller ones that are not as big as like that one there, those are new. They just appear randomly. And same with these multi-striped loaches. There's a baby one there versus adult two here. And the difference is I mean, they're twice as big, like that little one compared to this big one. And I bought them and put them all in at the same time and everything. And you know, it was just the big four, and now there's like 9 in there total. So I know that they've been spawning. Also, at Aquarium Co-op, I picked up a male Nanacara, or the golden cichlid. They shouldn't be called golden cichlids, honestly, but they could be called like a blue cheek or blue breasted cichlid or something like that. But I don't know. Any case, so I've got them, and the female, who's had a permanent, she has a permanent gill irritation or issue cut kind of thing to it, and she's down in this crevice here doing her little protective thing. Now, for guppies and endlers, I have them in this tank, which has a pH down in the acidic range. However, the TDS is fairly high. But the TDS is high in specifically calcium compounds. Also, look at this little orange. We had some babies, and then I also bought some. I think it was 5 at my last fish auction. We finally had our first fish auction in a long time. But I got some more Venezuelan corridoras that I believe came from Aquatic Arts. Well, they came from me. Then I brought them to the club, and then in the last 2 years, people have bred them, and then I bought more. So now I've got kind of, they may not be a diverse line per se, but they're new blood that's not as closely related to the ones in my tank, which is always a good plan. But there's that gold dwarf cichlid right there, the male with that big rounded head. And I guess there's some gold, but I'm seeing, you know, more blue and green in that metallic. So I've never quite got that. All right. So the Guppy thing remains a bit of a mystery. We'll try to help you if maybe you can get us more info either in this stream or in a comment. In a comment, then I can really pick it apart and devote 10-15 minutes to it now that it's flagged in my mind and I'm thinking about it. So Tiffany's question, I don't want to get too far behind y'all, but Tiffany Underwood says, how can I tell if my plants are now dead? Dead and not damaged from the heater malfunctioning. It cooked everything. The crowns are still firm on at least one of the swords. So the way you can tell usually is by transparency or brown. The tissue is generally dead. If you see it transparent, it is dead, unless that plant is naturally transparent. Now, the tissue, when it turns brown like that, this leaf is dead. The plant's still good. To check on a plant like this, where the stalk looks like it may be dead, if it's a stem plant, you can still cut any point in the stem, and this will all be good. Anything here still has those junctions that are called undifferentiated cells, or what are they called? Potent cells. And so you can do whatever you want with that. However, with plants like Anubias or swords, here's a big old clump of Anubias. If you get rot somewhere in the heart of the rosette or somewhere like on a crypt, if you get it down below in here, and it's mushy and the leaves that still have color, it's just because that plant couldn't use the passageway to get the color out, to get the chlorophyll, the vitamins, the nutrients out of that passageway. And so your leaves will stay colorful sometimes, even though the plant's dead. And that's what's happening when that happens. That's not what's happening in this plant. I'm trying to see if I have any plants that are in a bad way like that. Where that may be occurring. Oh, I think I can show you one in the other room, come to think of it. So let's see here. Because it is a bit of a challenge sometimes to figure out why what is doing whatever it's doing. But like this plant here is a sword plant, and we can see that my critters have been too rough with it and they're chewing through it accidentally when they're eating algae. Well, it's fine. That leaf is fine. It's going to be firm. So by feeling it, you'll know just by feeling the firmness. But also, the stem is also important. So if a leaf is mostly discolored and damaged, you can usually assume to get rid of it. But if the veins are all intact, like this one here, technically this is still alive and it'll limp along, but it's going to just drain this plant. So like this one, I would follow down and then I just pick it and get rid of it because there's plenty of other stems. Now, if there's room, if you have more healthy plant on a plant, then always just err on the side of pruning. Plants can take a lot of pruning, especially if you're not messing with the root bundle itself. When you start to mess with the root bundle, then you end up doing some damage. But like this leaf here, some people would have left it because it was down low and it's still very firm, rigid and everything. And then once I picked it, now I can see that there's no rot in there, no mushiness. But it's so chewed up that it's very prone to infection, and also it's just a drain on the rest of the plant. So that would be something that you want to just start taking away these plant. Like it will turn into this leaf. It's not going to get healthier. Usually leaves aren't going to heal on slow growers. And the same could be said of like an Anubias like this. At a certain point, the leaves get to an age, and you guys have been watching this if you've been watching my live streams for a while. Some of these leaves, this one's just been in the shade too much underneath these lilies, but some of these leaves are immaculate down here where they're underwater and they're not getting crazy extreme light. But the ones up here, the problem is they get slight algae around the edges. And even though it's slight, then we get the other critters like my other, what do you call, the Siamese algae eater, who happens to be right under my finger here. starts nibbling on it and starts really ripping stuff up and causing damage. And then that's when you kind of have to assess, is it alive? Is it going to make it? Same with like here, like this stem here, not going to make it. It's, you see the flimsiness. If that were a rosette type plant, like a sword plant, an Amazonian sword, or you know, Barclay longifolia. Some of them start as bulbs and then they kind of spiral out. But if it has an onion like um, root ball or start base to it, then you start peeling away basically. Usually the inside ones will be okay. So these, the rhizomes are still okay here and colorful. And with this, same with like Java fern or Bucephalandra, as long as these are firm and still sending out runners, they'll be okay. This is a little anemic. This is a mini Bucephalandra hedulata mini variety, compared to the bigger varieties have these big sturdy healthy leaves, like these ones here. And this is a healthy rhizome right here. You can actually see there's a new fiddlehead growing on this one. And this stuff, actually, if you recall a few live streams ago, we took just scissors and we nipped off that end. And because it had become mushy, it was yellowish brown. And then right where we nipped it, that came back. We nipped it right where the tissue gets firm again. And this Anubias has grown so tall here. If you can see that underwater here, it's grafted to a rock, like it's really stuck on that rock. But all these leaves now are almost a year old and they've gone through a move, plus they've been munched on a lot. So all these top leaves could get trimmed and the plant will then put its energy back into either new leaves or lower leaves. And likewise, a lot of times what happens is you need to get more flow of nutrients and oxygen and gases and things to a plant. And the problem will be that you don't, like, the plant has grown too densely. You've it's got the light and everything that it needs, but it's grown too densely, and it ends up growing tall. And so then you'll need to just cut that off and get rid of that area so that it can start to regrow and be healthy. One last little piece and then we'll move on. But great questions. Yeah, so here's another piece where it had gotten soggy here on the end and black. Sometimes it'll be brown or orange or yellow, but now it's all firm again. And the fact that it's all firm, right now nothing is growing. You can see black on the ends, and even like these leaves that were healthy have died again. Well, this plant is saying, you know what, it got flipped in the tank and it's saying rhizomes on the other side, or I mean, it's saying leaves on the other side. And so it's putting out these spikes. It doesn't want to help the ones that are pointed down anymore. It wants to grow new ones. So we're going to let it keep orienting that way because it's harder to grow new damage. And then once it sucks some of the more green out of here and it starts turning black, like this leaf's ready to go. It's black. Same with this one here. But once it starts sucking that energy back out and it gets all the minerals and nutrients that the plant's already put together in its own tissues, you can always trim these little runners. These are just asking for nutrients or something to hold on to. And in this case, with all these flat stem, those are they're not like a taproot or anything. These are trying to hold on to something. They're holding on for dear life, basically. So there's that. All right, let me scroll down. I'm probably way behind now. Let's see here. What did I miss? What did I miss? What did I miss? All right. Let's see here. Oh, nice. What Plecos can go in a 125? Hulk Logan's? Any Plecos you want, man. A 125, you could put the biggest ones in there. The rubber, black, black ones, the rubber lip Plecostomus, the originals. They'll get 2 feet long, but if you got a 125, you're going to be fine. 100%. That being said, I prefer the smaller ones. I like Ancestris. So all your bristle noses, your starlights, your gold nuggets. I like your Peclotia comptas or compactas, all the different little Peclotia or Peclotia, which are going to be your zebras, your leopard frogs, your false leopard frogs, the L333. Now, the other thing that's going on in here, my chai has been not growing well, but my gobies, surprisingly, who usually just eat biofilm, love tissue culture of the chai, which is not the best thing in the world. I would prefer that they not do that. And also, you can see I'm getting diatom algae on this new tank, which is fine. I mean, it's normal. I totally did a reset. This was so dense with plants, and this is not a huge filter. There are nitrates building up. Plus, I'm putting in even more nutrients that have phosphates and other things in them that are kicking it up. So the answer is pump up the CO2. I haven't scaled back the light yet. In fact, I actually pumped the light up more. We're not seeing any bad algae. This is another odd plant. This is Nacea triflora, I believe it's called, and it turns black when you cut it anywhere. Doesn't matter if it's healthy, unhealthy, whatever, turns black. Stargrass is the same way, and so that's just one that I'm mentioning because it looks real bad, but it'll heal up again. It's an oddball plant. As where earlier I said, oh, cut it if it's black. But yeah, these little Stiphodon Annie's gobies. Here comes another one. They're so adorable, and they're not really colored up right now, but they are neon yellow, like this lemon pleco here, and they've been coloring up, and they've been eating. I've got lots of pictures of them eating the chai, Hygrophila chai that was here, the really expensive plant. So now we only have 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 pieces of the chai hygrophila left. So that may end up being a failure in this tank. Now, I knew that I didn't have optimal conditions for it, but I still wanted to try it out. Also here, we've got plants that were left from before, just stems, that are just failing to thrive, and they're just turning into algae collectors potentially. So we're going to actually take out this whole plant that's got those problems. See that? That's almost, it looks like it could turn into staghorn or blackbeard algae. And I'm just going to take that out because for me, it's not worth the risk just to have that plant there when I've got more over here that's not doing that and whatnot. Some right there that's not doing it. So yeah. All right, let's go back to the fish room where my Dr. Pepper is. You guys are awesome today. You guys are always awesome. I would get like a big Sultan Pleco if you're looking for something cool, or a candy cane Canuck. Plecos are really cool. Also, like the Alinquer ones are pretty neat. But the big Sultan, I have a mini Sultan Pleco that's sometimes around in this tank. It's young still. It's only about 2 inches. We'll see if I can flush her out somewhere. But also, I mean, another great one are green phantom plecos. Or you could do something other than a pleco. I mean, you could do like a group of Raphael catfish, or you could do like shadow catfish. They're awesome. Like they're teeny tiny. I mean, they're only 2 or 3 inches, but you could do a group of like 50 if you wanted in that tank, you know, or whatever, 10, however many you feel like. Also, since Kenny gave me a chat, and obviously I'm always going to mention Fishtoberfest, which I'm speaking at coming up here in about 10 days, but I've also got his Red Fire Jewel Turcanas in here in this Lake Tanganyika style setup, basically, or Rift Lake, I guess. It's not quite as extreme as Tanganyika actually is, but it's not a plant-based tank. there is the algae issue because I don't have plants, CO2 or anything. I've just got a sponge filter in here and low light. And it's actually the natural light just on the front sections. You can see where it stops. Then I'm getting this brown or red-brown algae, which basically I'll just remove and it'll grow back and I'll remove and it'll grow back and I'll remove. It's just life. Mm. All right, let's see here. AC, welcome. Angie. Ba, 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 ba. It's me. Hello. I have a tank. I have a Apistogramma cockatoides pair. Hey, that's what these guys are. Um, that has babies. They've had them about a week and a half. Should I remove them? That's always a gamble with cichlids, especially with dwarf cichlids. If they are the, let me think about this or I want to explain this in a way that, so if they are the biggest, baddest thing in the tank and nothing scares them, then probably it's best to take them away from their parents for about a month or 2 months and let them fatten up on brine shrimp or frozen bloodworms or whatever it is you can feed them. The parents will usually take care of them really well for the first 2 weeks. They'll guard them fiercely with their lives. Same with cribs. I mean, even though they're African, and they'll do that really well. However, something kind of snaps sometimes, especially in the males, where if they get annoyed or they get stressed or scared, they'll come in and they'll sometimes they'll group them up in their mouth and move them or spit them out into safety. But sometimes they get nervous and they end up swallowing them. So sometimes they're not even trying to be malicious or eat or anything. And I think they just forget that they have babies in their mouth or whatever. They think these babies aren't going to make it. I'm going to save the protein for myself and get fat on the calories, you know? And in fact, these ones may be settling down too, even though the male should be the one guarding any cave or anything. I see the orange of the female bedded down where they keep hanging out. So, but I would say, yeah, take them away just in case, or better yet, take half away and then see what they do. If they are doing okay, and if they're not eating their babies, then you'll know that they've learned. But a lot of times it takes them 3, 4 spawns to learn to take care of their babies without eating them, and that's just a weird cichlid thing. Some get it right the first time, but most don't. So there's that. That's a golden half beak we're staring at right now. Aloha from Hawaii, Kona Extreme Aquatics. Hello. What is the smallest aquarium you'd use to keep a breeding pair of bettas in? And of course, it would be heavily planted. Yeah, totally. The smallest pair or the smallest size I ever use personally are 2.5 gallons. I like the 2.5 gallons. I think that's plenty big for them. Some people argue about that. I know people who've spawned them, that being said, in containers like this, like a jar like this, where that's about, that leaf stuck on the side is about the size of a betta. And there's 2 in there, and they wait for them to spawn, and they only put them together for a short time, and they really get ready for them to spawn. Like they prep them with food, and then they show them to each other, but don't let them touch, and all this stuff like that. And that's not how I breed my bettas. As you saw in the other room, my bettas are in the tank together. They're doing the same here, and same with my gouramis. I introduce them to one another. If they don't spawn within a few, maybe weeks or months, usually after I've prepped them and put them together, then I will sometimes separate them again, try again, or then I'll pick up that tactic that you'll see other people using, where they put them together and all that jazz. Oh, all right, Kenny. I will talk to you later. Take it easy, buddy. Man, my chat. Come on, stay with me here. Let's see here. Yeah, I think for bettas too, I mean, a 10 gallon is going to be ideal. If you just fill it like this, then they really won't hurt each other. Part of it depends on how robust their fins are. If they have big, flauncy, colorful streamers of fins, you got to be more careful. If they're more like the placat, like tight to the body, they're not like half moon or crescents or anything. Um, then you're able to use a tank with even less plants, or you could use a tank that's smaller, like this 2.5 here. 5 gallons work fine too. Up here. Right now, come to think of it, I gave away all the bettas that were. Hold on, 1 sec. Let me get this ladder. I gave away all the bettas that were not in the color schemes I was looking for because I'm trying to make a creamsicle Nemo and it's not focusing up close. But I've got these blue iridescent ones that I just have a soft spot for that I keep. But then I also have the ones that have the gene with orange in them. And they're all kind of hanging out low other than a few up here. They're still pretty small and hard to tell. So I have all the blue ones here and all the orange ones in another tank, orange and red. So they're kind of separated by color. And then also they're in here with these minnows. But the minnows act as white clouds act as kind of a dither. And that's what I was going to say about the size of your tank and also the size with apistos. So when you have apistos, if you've got dither fish and they're not the biggest fish, a lot of times they'll keep protecting the babies because they have a common enemy. Like these angelfish, even though they're not going to eat their babies, he'll interpret them as bigger and danger, and he'll probably not eat his babies as readily as if he were in a tank with neon tetras or something. So sometimes that helps. See, here's the blue female that had those babies up there. She's really all blue and a nice looking lady. Turquoise on part of her. And they like also dim lighting. So the lighting can really help reduce stress. The lower the light, I mean, they want some light, but not much. Like a lot of times, this lighting here with light adjacent is just right. That's what he's gonna want, or she's gonna want here. This is the female, and she's swollen in the belly still. You see that little bulge? So she wants to keep having babies. Oh wow, Laura, Loria, Loria, thank you so much for the super chat. Oh, the super sticker. That is very, very kind of you. Much appreciated. I will use it wisely, either in the fish room or down in Oregon. And also, you guys, I'll be streaming from Fishtoberfest down in Portland. Lucas Bretz will be there. Dan's Fish will be there from Wyoming, obviously, and Get Gills. Jason from Redfish Bluefish will be there. And by the way, Jason from Redfish Bluefish happens to have the Crystal Castleman book that is up to $150 normally. Okay, sorry about all the walking and the motion sickness type stuff, but I gotta go walk to the book to show you guys which one it is. But normally this book has been going for I mean, online I've seen a secondary market of it go for up to $250. But this book, which is the best plant book there is, Jason of Redfish Bluefish Shop, he imported this book by the case of it basically, and got them signed from her. So we both met her at AGA a number of years ago. Jason and I and Kenny actually from Danikin and Alan were all there in Seattle when it was held there. But this book, if you ever need help identifying a plant, this is the most up-to-date version, and it has over 750 plants mentioned in it, and their variants on top of that. 1,500 color photos. I mean, it's just an incredible book. And like I said, we paid, well, a lot of people paid close to $200 before it was being sold in the US at all. And now you can really see the algae. That's just from 2 days. It went from nothing to that. And it's because of the massive amount of CO2 and ferts and light. There's two Fluval 3.0s on there, basically. But in any case, yeah, so that book on Jason's website right now, on his at his store online, is only $77 shipped. Like 80, or it comes out, I think, like with tax and everything, I think it's like just under 80 even, because it can go media mail since it's educational literature. This boy here, he's going to hopefully these two are going to have babies soon. She's my creamsicle. Where'd she go? My creamsicle gal is somewhere around here, but he's my proud I guess you'd probably call him a Galaxy Nemo koi plakat. I don't know. Galaxy being the blue iridescent coloring. Sometimes they include that on a darker background, but other people don't seem to think that matters. There she is. So she's an iridescent blue with orange, and then she's got pink or fuchsia color on her face as blotches. So they both have the red gene, they both have the iridescent blue gene. So I'm really interested to see what their babies look like. And they started finally building a nest over here. It's just, I think this tank, since we trimmed it all to hell, it doesn't have enough. There's not enough foliage or floating plants, and there's also probably not enough little bugs and critters living. Like when you get a tank like this, then you got all these little white dots. When you look closely against the glass, you see there's little things, even if it's planaria or whatever, you see these little dots moving. And all my nano fish are fat because they just hunt all day long down in here. And they, I'm not afraid of allowing little scuds or other stuff. Actually, we've got a rare treat right now. Look, we've got the blue balloon ram came out, or purple rather. And the other one's more attractive right here. Look at the male. Oh, it's red and purple and yellow. But those two I rescued from PetSmart because PetSmart had 25 come in dead. And only 3 were alive. So I said, give me those, like literally. And they're like, okay. And I got the 2 to survive. 1 still passed away, but I got the other 2 nursed back to health, and they've been good for probably 4 months, 5 months now. And by the way, Jackson Fish Stick, that's his name, like Jackson Pollock, but pollock is also what they make fish sticks out of oftentimes. So a type of fish. Poor bubble nest skills. I give you a 0 out of 10. I give you a negative 0 out of 10. Jeez. Get with the program, bro. Now another thing, she looks like a koi from on top, which that's what I'm excited about. Are those markings too? Betta babies can be really unpredictable as far as whose patterns get passed on and all that stuff. Let's see here. Let me get Alex, could you lower your camera so we can see what you're showing? Oh, wait. Okay, so I'm gonna ignore every wait, how did that zoom in? Something zoomed in on us. Let's see here. Settings, camera. Weird. It's all angled steep. Okay, so these are the new cameras on this new phone. It makes a huge difference, I guess. Weird. But hi guys, I look crazy. So this book, get it from Jason. If you're gonna buy it, seriously, buy it from Jason. He's ordering more, he said. I think there's like 8 left in the country, but we were able to use the money that you guys helped us with, and we bought Mrigel, the new judge this year, the guest judge to Alan and I. We were able to buy him this incredible book. and get it shipped to him. So thank you guys for making that happen. Seriously, you guys rock. And if you're gonna get that book, get it from Jason at redfishbluefish.shop. Why don't you write him a little note saying Alex sent me, just so he can know like how many of y'all came from this versus other places, because I don't want to send a flood of people over to a little artisan shop online and then him think, oh, I need to restock 50 books, and it really just be a group of us 8 or something that wanted the book at a killer price. But you can still buy it from Crystal too. Don't want to discourage that because I think it's worth paying her higher dollars. It's just you're gonna have to wait a lot longer. You can also, I think you can also order faster shipping from Jason if you want, whereas hers has to go through customs and all that stuff. And he's shipping his media mail if you want that flat under $80 fee or price tag. But so worth it. I mean, better than any website. There is, yeah, way better. What kind of phone did I get, UG Aquatic? So just so everyone knows, I'm now at the bottom of the chat, and I miss questions, I'm sure, but because of how spacey I am, and I don't even know who's here if they left a question, please just ask your question again, and we'll get it. Yeah, we'll get it sorted out as best we can. Thanks, guys. Thanks for understanding. You guys are the best. You guys rock. Hey, T-Bone, thank you so very much, brother, for the $3 super sticker. I greatly appreciate it. No, 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 no. And the other thing that I wanted to tell everybody is, you know, when folks are giving like $20 and up, if they go to PayPal or Venmo, I get 45% more of that money than if we do it through YouTube. Now, I get doing it through YouTube, and also then it encourages the community to see who's giving what and all that too, which I understand. And I do super chats as often as I can too, to channels that I enjoy. But I'm just saying, if you're going to give a large sum to anybody ever, then you definitely probably want to do it on a PayPal or a Venmo or whatever they use. If they're in another country, they might use some other app like, you know, Google Cash App or whatever, or M-Pesa in Africa, like if they're in, you know, South Africa or Egypt or something. But my info should be in the description below the main frame, which you'd have to back out from chat. But my Venmo is at Alex dash, like middle level dash, Williamson dash 88. Thanks, Mridgel and Alan. You guys both put it. You guys are getting good. And also, they are my what do they call that other one? PayPal, the old school one that we used to use back in my day. That one is I just use my web, or my not my website, my email, which is alexanderjwilliamson@gmail.com. I know that's really long, just like my channel name. I can't keep anything short. You guys should know that by now. Alyssa, the secret history living in your aquarium. If you end up with a bright red plakat Betta with a blue or magenta iridescent wash, let us know. I don't think I'm supposed to let us know. I'm probably supposed to let you know, right? And yes, I will do so. The phone is a Samsung Note Ultra 5 or Ultra S 5G, I think it is. Hey, look, the half beaks, the wrestling half beaks are mating. Cute. They just were curled up for a second. They do this curling thing, and the males flex and push on each other for strength, but that's a male and a female. And they have had a baby, and the problem is, I think the other rainbow fish, or even the other half beaks here, I think they are eating some of the babies. Even with this like wonderland of red hornwort, which I love this red hornwort. Hard to find, but once I found it now, it's replaced all my old hornwort. But yeah, they don't seem to be smart to go to ground or whatever. Oh, and there's the Apisto Pandurini pair or Panduro pair. The male's right here. The female's off buying shoes. No, sorry, that was inappropriate. The let's see here. Um, but yeah, they're somewhere. I don't know where they went. She's always hiding in that tank. And then she comes out and she's like banana yellow and all happy and stuff. And she says, Alex, my rescued pea puffer will only eat snails. How do I get her to eat brine, shrimp, and bloodworms like the other 7 in her tank? I've dangled and nothing. She ignores it, only wants snails. You know, that's a hard one, depending on age and depending on their proclivity. But, you know, generally, if you starve them for like a week or two, like to the point where they're starting to get skinny and you worry, all of a sudden, it's the weirdest thing. They acquire a taste for whatever it is they weren't eating prior. This guy has done that to me. This Haplochromis male, the red and purple one in here, he wasn't eating anything. Now he's eating duckweed. He's eating pellets. He's eating anything I throw in there, and he's being nice and cooperative, which I enjoy. But I would try that. The other thing you can try is putting a little garlic. My pea puffers, they like they're in here with these goodyids, which is a weird combo. So we're gonna see how it goes as the goodyids grow out. But for right now, it's a happy little family. They all seem to just think they're one of each other. The puffers do hang back a little bit over by the filter, but they come to the front when it's feeding time. They bloodworms also sometimes are too long, so chopping those up can help. Yeah, I would advise to chop them up. Now, another thing is these were plants that were outside in my bucket. Mr. Bucket, you're the one. Do. Mr. Bucket, you make bath time so much fun. And I am putting these immersed plants in my tank because I can and I wanted to live. So this is oxalis. It's a red oxalis, and this was supposed to be a plant that hates water. Sally Ball's brother, I remember your name. Thank you so much, brother, for the $5. Make me holla. I appreciate it greatly. Seriously though, guys, it means a lot, especially this month. It's just been a month. Thank you. And the other thing is, hopefully, you know, it hasn't cost any extra money or anything, but I had interviews lined up with some professionals, some vets, and some professors. And so I'm hoping to line those up again, but some of it may require travel to the eastern part of the state or down to Oregon again. So that's another thing that when I lost the phone, that happened, and that was a bummer. But yeah, so this oxalis is just basically a type of clover, and it had its roots all bound. I mean, it was all root bound and ready to live. It's actually not even submersed at all right now, so it'll have to get used to it. Bye, Lydia. Let's see here. Yep, totally agree with Mrigel's assessment there with the spot treatment. And then we've got Creeping Jenny. Gotta love Creeping Jenny, and we got some Creeping Charlie. Look at the roots on this stuff. This was the stuff that was living out in the bucket on the side of the house. But I'm just kind of curious to see if I grow it out of the tank like such, how far this stuff can actually trail in the humidity that I've created in this room. So, I mean, we're going to start with it, maybe start with a few pieces that are crawling up and around, trained to this, like so. We can always use glue or string if need be. And then trying to untangle one more. Sorry if it's shaky for a sec, guys. So then we've got this, which is my Ludwigia palistris immersed from back when the competition was going. Oddball Aquatics, what's up? Is that Haley? Um, so the plan here is these guys I'm just gonna submerge over. Well, they're all the way underwater right now. That's a little too much for them. So I'm trying to think of what my shallowest tank is. They may not have enough light, but here where I've got all these baby, and there's some protein. I need to change the water here. See that protein film? There's no filter or anything, so you just have to watch it on these kind of tanks. But this is where all my little barbs are growing out. My rosy barbs. So we're gonna put this guy in there, and this thing, even at this height, it's hard to get him not to be submerged. But there we go. So we'll see how the Ludwigia palustris does. It'll steal some light. We turn it. It'll steal some light off this light here, and that should be enough. And then we're also going to do some more of the creeping Charlie, because I just like having creepy Charlie all over my house. We're going to try to get him to suck some nitrates out of the same water as this one, so we can have kind of a control and know once they're rooted. So we're going to assume that they're going to be rooted, but once it's rooted, just how far can Charlie go before things start to get unfortunate for it? So we're just going to let it grow up and over the edge here, and see what happens. See what happens. Somebody had asked again too during the live stream about my when we were talking about setting up the CPD tank, the colony breeding for nano species. These are the cheapest sponges in the world of filters. There's another one right there. Whoops, sorry guys, didn't want to flip that. But yeah, so I take one or two sponges sometimes. Sometimes I take the sponges off. Sometimes I leave them on. It just depends. But I keep them ready in different tanks. But I assume that room temperature and soft water, like this tank, is going to have different microbes than, say, a hard water guppy tank like up here. It is 80 degrees, almost 80 degrees. Or like the Rams tank that's soft water and 80 degrees, whatever. So I just keep different groups of those and pre-filters stashed around in all over the place in different tanks. Also, let's see if we can get this light to shine up here for a moment. Shine, shine, shine. See all the baby snails? That's not good. It means I've been overfeeding, but it's hard to see when you put a tank this high because you're a dummy. But what I wanted to show you guys were the bettas that are in here. Where are they? Oh, there's one right there, right in front of us. And these guys are the smallest species of betta. So I always get it wrong and somebody corrects me, but the minutia, I think they are minutia or minima, one of those words that's Latin for small. But they've been growing out now for maybe 4 months, and they were a gift from a viewer, and I appreciate it greatly. Was that you, Nature Aquariums, or natural, or it was either Nature Aquariums or Natural, something with nature, natural, and I'm confusing all the names right now off the top of my head. Let's see here. I would say the name, but I'm not gonna in front of everyone on YouTube. I'm not gonna out your real name, your flesh name with your screen name. But oh, I did use that betel nut stuff. I used about a half a gram of it, or like, I don't know, a quarter teaspoon or something like that in here. And because it's pretty dense stuff. It didn't dissolve readily. I would recommend shaking it up in a bottle or something with water first. And good night, it's me. But it I haven't seen that many planaria. The ones I did see, they literally came out of the woodwork. I mean, they just came out of the rocks. They came out of the sticks and the stems and the vines and stuff in here. And they weren't dying, but they were just struggling, like they were searching for something or they were in pain. There are my amber barbs or ember barbs, whatever you want to call them. They're my little African joys. I'm hoping in the wet spot in Portland I can pick up more of these on the way home. I really want to community breed these also in this shrimp tank. It's a 10-gallon, but it's monstrous for these guys. And I hear they like a group of 12 or more. It's just they're $10 a pop. So it's a bit of a commitment money-wise. So I have 6 at the moment, I believe. Yeah, 6. Let's see here. Um, why do they say that you have to have your central air pump high and run the air tubes downwards? Oh, yeah, so that it doesn't flood everything. And it's also so that you don't get your you don't get everything what do you call it? Like backing up your line. You don't need check valves. But I am right now messing with all the setup over here. And so this stuff is exposed and terribly dangerous at the moment, the way this is. And it's overloaded. But that's the way it is at the moment because I'm running stuff another way. And what happened is I was filming with the light, this, and another light, and then charging the camera at the moment when we started. So things. There she comes. Hi, world. I was hiding. Now I'm with my my boo. Uh, they've got those nice blue fins up front and the fancy orange up top. Everybody's bagging now. So I guess we should probably give them some FUD. Give them some FUD. What do you guys think? You want some FUD, you fuddy fish? Um, Also, another good deal that people don't think about, Petco, PetSmart, whatever. Go get these. They're like $2.99. Sometimes they go even less. If they're by their expiration date at my local store, they put them in a pile and they go for $1.99 or 99 cents. You don't know what you're gonna get. You may just get a nymphaea of some sort. You may get dwarf tiger lily. You might get a miniature one, you might get an orange one, a red one. But yeah, there you get 4 bulbs in this assorted aquatic bulb one. It's at Petco usually, and it starts at $4.99, not on sale. But I mean, really, it's such a good deal that whatever. And it's got breather holes. So if you have a humid fish room like this one here, even though I've got the dehumidifier, you want to not leave it in the humidity because 1, it could mold, but 2, it could actually trigger it to start growing, and then it's not the right habitat and it's going to just rot when it opens up. So there's that. Also, oh, the other thing is I put this 10 up here and it's no filter, nothing, just moss that has been very soaked with debris from other tanks. So it has beneficial bacteria enough for 5 rice fish. But I wanted to keep my bright orange rice fish separate from my white and my lame or lame, which means sparkly. Looks like the word lame, rice fish. So they're in there. And then let's do a little check and see how the little baby half beak's doing. So here's the little baby half beak. If we can get it to focus on her, him, whatever it is. Uh, oh, thank you so much, Lamont. I appreciate the $2 so much. You're awesome, like your rice fish. Aw, I think they're cooler than me, but yeah. Also, this is my mutt guppy tank, and look at the tail on this one guppy. Let me try to scare it back towards us. This is a 5-gallon tank. that literally gets fed once a week as an experiment. And look at that fire tail on that. And it's a female too. That's one I'm gonna have to take out and play with the genetics of for sure. Because crazy. Let's see here. Let's get this up here so y'all can see what I'm talking about. Much better. Aziz, light. So yes, thank you, Aziz. That's the little half beak that I rescued. Now we're probably at 4 weeks since I pulled it out of the big tank. Where'd it go? And then we've also got in here the yellow Neocaridina. We were down to one female, and after the heat wave or whatever, but she was pregnant. So she had, I don't know, babies, and that was the first heat wave. And so now we've probably got, I don't know, 10 in here. Also, in here, this is just a sand bottom, very low substrate. And in here, we've got catappa leaves and stuff. We've got leaf killifish in here. And yet again, these two tanks are set aside for baby fry, basically. And so they're full of scuds and little, cyclops and daphnia and things like that. In fact, if you can see it, there's a daphnia just chilling right on the glass here. Plus, there's also micro worms in the form of detritus worms in here. And so this tank is a tank that I don't have to feed for the first month of life of little fish. Like you'll see a scud on that branch, see it doing its thing. That's a big scud. That's a big mama scud that's gonna have babies. But in here, there's also, if I get my Robs, I see you, brother. Yes, I'm still sniffing filters to make sure that they're fresh. They gotta smell earthy, not sulfury, not poopy. Or otherwise, something's gone wrong. You're gonna have a bad time. But right here, it is the neon yellow Neo. That's exactly what they are. Alyssa, good eye. But there's those scuds there. So I take these out with the turkey baster from time to time. But right here, I'm trying to get this guy to come forward. We've got about 15. They look like little, like they should be ridden, like some sort of little, I don't know, sheep at a rodeo or something. But I'll suck them up like this, get them in here, and then I'll start. So like that CPD tank that's on the floor, that one is indoctrinated or impregnated, whatever you want to call it, with about 10 or 15 of those scuds, just as a food source, hoping they'll get hunted and eaten. Same with normal shrimp. The Malawa shrimp, that's what I use them for, a food source. Not my Neocaridinas. I try not to use those. I like them, and they're colorful, and pretty things are too pretty to die. But up here, yeah, up here we've got pencil fish. There's probably about 8 or 9 that survived in that community tank before we trimmed it up, the one in the other room. But they're in here, they're doing well. And yeah. No, scuds didn't kill my shrimp. No. I feed my, well, these are all things I feed to other fish, unfortunately. I hate to tell you. But this tank, which never gets heater, never gets filter. I mean, there is no filter in it, so it never gets anything changed. It just gets water top offs. The TDS is like 500. It's just got guppy mutts in it, and then it also happens to have cories. Never put the cories in it. Their eggs were on the Saswassertong or the moss or something, and so there's 3 cories that are in here that have grown up in here, and they're in here as an experiment now. Oh, scuds killed your shrimp. Yeah. No, scuds definitely can cause problems with shrimp. However, these shrimp are extremely intelligent. I sent them to college, and so they know better. They don't hang out after dark with the scuds. There's that pretty female. Sorry, that tank's really scuzzy. Over here, boy, the ladies look nice. and so do the gentlemen of these white cloud minnows. The gentlemen have the black stripes down the side, but they just look really nice because of being out in the sun all summer. They still have their tans. And then up here, we've got our lovely Bettas. So this one's going to look natural colored, but she's got the blue iridescence. It's probably going to turn red. They turn colors really easily when they're this small. Same with these ones here. So there's about 10 Bettas of ½ inch to an inch, if you want to consider these ones an inch, long in those tanks up there that I saved. The rest I gave away at a very young and tender age to turn into glue at the horse factory. Let's see here. Yes, there are definitely some fat Heteranda formosas as well up there. Good eye. Someone hit dislike. Someone hits dislike every stream I have. Like the second that I start streaming, they're really into that. It gets them off, and so I'm glad that I can get someone off every stream. That makes me just feel like I'm helping the world a little bit in some way. I am debating what do I do down here with. So this is weird. And some of you may have already heard this before, but my Corydoras hang out right at the top in this tank. They don't do the air gulping thing. They just hang out right at the top. I don't know if they just feel safe here, but they hang out in this stuff. And then if I pull it out, man, then they nail me with their little barbs. But if I want to pull out some of these half beaks or some of the Gilbert eye, these guys, where are they? Some of these beautiful Gilbert eyes that are now full grown. These are also aquatic art strain. I think they're originally Gary Lang's, but they're looking really nice right now. So if I want to spawn them, they're not doing it in here. They're not laying their egg, or if they are laying their eggs, they're eating their own eggs. They're the most voracious of anybody in this tank by far, that I've noticed anyhow. And yeah, these guys right here. And yeah, they're a lot meaner than the half beaks, that's for sure. Also, just to show you guys, because some people were curious about these variegated Anubias. Variegated Anubias or Pinto Anubias has to have light and ferts and nitrates in the water, and it basically has to be right under a strong light. So that's how you keep those white, and you basically encourage the white growth on one half, especially when it's full leaves like this. And then you watch my variegation video if you want to know how to keep these alive, especially from tissue cultures. They're real tricky sometimes. And basically, you need to equal out the white half with the green half because of that. So, because they can't photosynthesize because they're stupid. All right, so what else were we going to talk about? Let's talk about fish, baby. Let's talk about you and me. Let's talk about all the good things and the bad things. Like DP. Yeah, it could be plant shaming. Yes, I'm a mean person. Yeah, it could be that the Cory just likes hanging out there. It's just weird. I've never seen him do it in any other tank where I float a big raft of anything. But the other thing that I'm really happy that has worked, and now it's worked in 3 tanks, is Apistos, Bettas, and Stiphodons. The Stiphodon gobies, all 32 species, well, all 12 species that I've tried, have been quick enough, fast enough, and bold enough. They don't compete for the same spaces, and they've all just been a magnificent companion piece, side piece, if you will, for the Apistos or Angels. Like, they really, nobody seems to pay them mind. Um, hello. Hello, lady. Are you gonna be nice? Or are you gonna be mean like husband? Are we gonna play the game we used to play? Um, so Rob's Olson, check out the Aquarium Guys podcast. Is that what you wanted, Rob? Is that what you want from me? You want me to yell it from the top of the mountains? Fine. I love Rob. Z. Um, yeah, she's not as laid back right now. Um, but she's still pretty chill. She used to just jump up in there. See, the husband will come and check out what's up, and then usually he'll go along with it too. But not today. All right. Uh-oh, I see a super chat that I'm possibly slacking on. All right. Um, Kenny, hello. Blue Galaris. Yeah, those are great. Um, what would you recommend to put in a 40 breeder tank? I have 640 breeders and I'm excited to set them up. Some will be grow out tanks. Yeah, totally. Honestly, I would, if I could plan it again and I had six, I would do one black water so that I could do like angelfish, big old angelfish or discus. You can do like 5 adults and then a ton of little tetras and stuff if it's planted well, and then like upright bamboo or something or wood in a tank for them, and they would spawn in there and all that jazz. Um, or you could do like a nice hill stream tank. If you look at my old videos, I did this very tank here used to be hill stream. It used to have two power heads, 1,000 gallons per hour, being blasted one way, and then 500 gallons per hour blasted back under a tube back up to the other side. So it was basically a big water slide or whatever, a big, yeah, it caused some issues with the way plants grow. You're really only going to be able to grow certain plants like these, Valsinaria, like corkscrew val, or hornwort, parrot feather, kabamba will sometimes do it. Some Ludwigia repens will do it. Like, see how big this one is and it's growing. The problem in this tank, I clean it, I clean it, I clean it. They have disturbed the mulm so many times that now the algae is like attached to the mulm, and yeah. So these cichlids, these haplochromis, they create quite the mess. So if I were to start all over, I would have put them in a sand substrate, whereas this is years of substrate that had plants solid, and now it's most of the plants are gone. So I would do one biome of like Venezuelan, like maybe earth eaters, or you could even do shellies, and you could do a whole bunch of types of shellies. In a 40 breeder, you could do probably 3 species of shellies if they each had their own section. Maybe you do like a riser in the center, um, or kind of do diagonal, diagonal, so they each have a triangle of a third of the tank. Um, you could do that. I would do that with like one. I'd do a biotope with one. I'd do a plant nursery that don't even think about the fish, but just get two Fluval 3.0 planted plus and grow whatever the hell it is you love and make some money off plants. You can get a lot out of that, honestly. And yeah, I would recommend that, Lemel. And you can do that. And then in the next tank, I would do a planted community tank. And I would do, honestly, I love these barbs. If I could do any tank right now, I would set up an African blackwater tank, which you could do in the biotope too. But you know, you could do something like something that doesn't breed necessarily. So like tetras and small barbs and rasboras and culiloches or stiphodon gobies or scarlet batis. There's so many little nano fish. Kubota rasboras, ember tetras, plecos, and then I would do one that's like maybe a bunch of corridoras and then some mid-level and upper level fish. And then that way you kind of would have a tank like you'd have a cichlid tank that could breed and be interesting. You'd have a nursery tank that is just for harvesting plants that you could play with CO2 if you want to, and lighting and all that. And then another 40 could be a grow out for whatever it is you're breeding. And you could put all sorts of things together in there from, I mean, I used to keep bettas in this 40 breeder when it was more planted. I'd keep like 40 or 50 baby bettas in here for probably 3 months until they were of, well, maybe even 4 months, till they started pairing off. Once well, so 4 total had paired off, then I would move them and into new tanks as pairs. But these African fire barbs or 9-banded barbs are great. The multi-banded loaches, those are great. The red eye yellow tetras are great. I'm just looking at them because they're right in front of me. But I mean, you could also do a tank full of rainbow fish for that matter. That's a long-term tank to grow out, but really you could get a really nice setup in there. Oh, right on. You got Betta Embolus tanks, huh? And you got 7 fry. Right on. Keep it going. Killer. That's rad. I mean, what I always say though about a tank is unless it's a nursery tank. Oh, there's the female. I was like, where's she hiding? Of the golden cichlid. And then also the fish that I wish I didn't have, I saved. That is the algae eater, but not the reticulated. The reticulated algae eater is the one you want. He has a diamond on his tail, no stripe down his side. This one's closer to like a flying fox type fish and can be more territorial and also will eat little fish randomly and rip at your plants randomly as it gets older. We've got a green dragon sitting here, but what I was going to say is utilize every height, um, you know, in your tank. So get hatchet fish or clown killies or half beaks and let them live up top with some floating plants. Then get some maybe danios or tetras or barbs and let them live in the middle. And then get some cories and then get one feature fish like a pair of cichlids like cribs or nanochromis or geophagus or haplochromis would be mean. So I would keep them in their own. But you could do like a Tanganyikan tank or like Mbuna tank. Or for that matter, you could get little puffers and have a little puffer tank. Um, and you could do like Amazon puffers in there, a group of those, or figure 8 puffers, or avocado puffers for that matter. I wouldn't go any bigger species than those though, probably. Yeah, you could also do shrimp, but that would be madness. Would you worry about almond leaves crashing pH in a 5-gallon Neocaridina tank? I have Fluval stratum in there. I figured the pH would already be buffered, but I was worried about tannins. Josh, great question, Josh. And yes, I would be worried about that. Yeah. By the way, I'll get back to you, Josh. But I would do pea puffers with then you could do peacock gudgeons, and that is at the top if it were well planted. I had that combo and it worked swimmingly. I've done it twice. The other one you can do is neon dwarf rainbow fish, dwarf praycocks, as they're known. And those will do fine too. Honey gouramis will work too. They'll hold their own. The thing is with honey gouramis, sometimes pea puffers nip at their fins. So powder blues are too violent. Honey gouramis are pretty nice. Sparkling gouramis are pretty nice, but they're not total pushovers either. Pretty much every type of gourami isn't going to be a total pushover. They'll have some notion of fighting back. It's just you don't want any variety of any of those things with long flouncy fins that are easy to grab a hold of and tear, because then you can get secondary infections. But yeah, talk about crashing a tank. I have crashed a tank down to 4.0 pH by putting in alder cones. Catappa leaves are more predictable, more or less. I can put a whole catappa leaf in here and it may drop 0.5 or whatever. But if you were to just shove 10 leaves in a 2-gallon or 5-gallon or even 10-gallon tank, you will see some serious change in the pH. And frequently, you'll kill your good bacteria. Okay, here is my my Sultan Pleco, my dwarf Sultan Pleco back there. I wish I could zoom in with the lens, but it's a beautiful grayish silver color with white to cream dots, and then it's got black tips and cream tips on different fins. But he's back there hiding. But there is a big one, and if you have that 120 or 180 gallon that we were talking about earlier, there's another variety of the Imperial Sultan, I think it's called, or Emperor Sultan Pleco that gets really big, like 22 inches, and they're really pretty. Watermelon Plecos are another good one. They're real cool looking. They're a funky, fresh, funky Comedina type of a critter. Um, let's see. I guess we got to feed some fish because it's an obligation. Oops, sorry guys, didn't mean to flip you upside down. You guys have been great tonight. You're keeping it fun. You're keeping it light. You're keeping it right, but you're still keeping it tight. All right. Let's see here. Do 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 do. Womp 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 womp. These guys just swarm the top of the water usually. So will these guys. These are those dwarf praycocks, neon rainbow fish, dwarf neon rainbows. So will barbs of any sort, whether they're Odessa barbs, rosy barbs, amber barbs, or gold barbs. They all do that. They're all piggies. And then angelfish going nuts over food. Even the little stiphodons now have gotten to the point where feeding time in this tank, they kind of have gotten a little more outgoing about it. But you can see these guys eat like there's no tomorrow. Like they're gonna die from not having enough food this moment. You can feed them until their bellies are bloated and swollen, and they still do that. Now, the pea puffers, this is interesting to me. These pea puffers want to come and eat, but like this one right here, but they don't eat flake food usually. So I don't know what they want. I think they just want to be part of the action. This one female is growing very fast compared to the others. But they've got snails in here, so I don't know why they're begging. I mean, they have food. They have food. They should be happy with what they have. Yeah. All right, let's see here. Give these guys some food. Give these guys a little bit of food. I like to have a lot of shrimp and other critters in the tanks just to help clean up in case I overfeed a pinch of food here or there. This tank is so full of white and pink ram's horn snails. I don't think I could overfeed this tank. There's so many down here that they just pick up the slack of anybody who's missing out. Oh, and I moved my my Everglades pygmy sunfish in there, so they're happy go lucky, I suppose. Grummies, and then these guys. The half-beaks actually can be pretty fierce about their food too. And then we still have Mortimer the Mormorid, who only eats bloodworms. So usually I kind of feed him with the Apistos, and they kind of get their own food every 2 to 3 days. They get fresh bloodworms or live blackworms, whereas no one else really gets that treatment. Well, these guys do. They get anything from raw chicken to shrimp, or whatever they want, whatever they order on room service. I wish they wouldn't hide so much though. This tank, they were real active when there were about 8 of them, but they haven't spawned again. So I need to build a new shelf in here, I think, um, and get them to come out more. Plus, there's mustard catfish in here that are like 7 to 8 inches long, and you would never know it except at night when sometimes they come out. But again, I've got more pre-filters sitting all over, just doing their thing, pre-filtering, getting cycled. So if I ever needed to, or if these CPDs don't start spawning on their own in this community, which the babies will hide in between the rocks when they first hatch, they'll be sticky and they'll just stick to the rocks and hide. Then they'll go into here and there'll be food on here, lots of little microbes in here, and the adults will hunt them, but they won't be able to go into the dense moss. So they'll have a little refuge over there. But then the open water will be for the mid-sized ones and the adults to show off, and also for feeding of baby brine shrimp, whereas vinegar eels will be pipetted into this back area here where no adults can get. See, there's actually a barrier. It's almost like I made a mat and filter out of moss. So, do you feed many microworms? I don't right now, Melissa, but I used to. I just don't have a good culture that's producing well right now. But I used to, and I really like those too. I mean, they're a good. I don't know if they're a good food long term for nutrition necessarily. They're kind of, you never want to feed just one thing all the time unless, I don't know, you're a koala or something. But yeah, so they're pretty cool though. Let's see here. Oh, you know what, guys? I oh 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 we're gonna end this stream, but I have something to show you before we do, and we're gonna do it together. You can see I have a heat rash right now from the room in there. And from being nervous, you guys make me so nervous. You know, though, you guys, thank you so much for all the super chats and for the 2 members that joined. You guys rock. It really does mean a lot. Keeps things going, keeps the lights on, and it lets me do more research. I've got lots of history videos. We're going to talk about World War II and how much that influenced the hobby. I mean, you wouldn't think about it, but everything from Bakelite plastics were all we had before, and then we've got flexible plastics. We've got hard plastics like PVC because of the Dow and Krylon companies. And then we have, jet engines from reconnaissance flights like the Blackbird later on in the Cold War. But coming out of World War II, the jet fighter starts becoming a thing, and then it becomes a passenger engine, and then we can fly fish across the ocean in 6 hours or 10 hours instead of 2 15-hour biplane or water plane trips, or whatever. So yeah, kind of interesting. And yeah, I'll put it all together for you as a video. But yes, Rob, you can name all my snails. It's just I'm never gonna refer to them by name, and you can't either. Oh, well, you can at home. I mean, whatever you want to do. Backroom Aquarium. Oh, okay, you guys are talking. Do we have any last minute super important questions that I need to do? Because let's see here. Because I'm gonna open the thing that I just got. But I already used cash to pay off prizes. So now we'll probably have to give this one away in the future. Or I could keep it. I mean, I did pay George. I didn't pay George personally, George Farmer, but I did give $50 to Project Piaba as per his request. So he did donate this in a way, which is awesome. So kind of him. But I believe this is his book, which has taken a while to get here, just because of the state of the world, I guess. using a butter knife. Josh Malone, welcome as a member, man. Come on in. It's the $2 membership club. I don't know why you'd want to join a club with such crazy members, but welcome. No, welcome aboard. I try to get to everyone's questions that I can, but if you ever need anything, your questions do stand out better now. And then also under your community tab, you guys get first announcements if I get a discount for something, or if I hear about something going on, or want to share something going on. You guys get to know. And it just keeps things going. Oh, can't open it until we do all of these. My hands are all covered in dirt, dirty fingernails. Hey, you can come on screen if you're going to do that. Honey, Alan, purple lasers. We'll find you your purple laser Corys soon. He wrapped this well. But his new Aquascaping book. Woo! Very cool. It's supposed to be signed. Let's see. It might not have gotten signed. In that case, it would. I wouldn't give it to you guys anyways. Only the best for my members. But thank you, George. If you're watching, you're not. But thank you, George. This was very kind of you. To offer and everything. Plus, you know, we funded Project Piaba in the process. And then, oh, we did. Keep on scaping. Or scraping. I can't. Slapping? Is that what that says? Keep on slapping? I think it says keep on slapping. Enjoy. No, that's very cool. Very, very cool. So I'll have to read this. Get my greasy fingers all over it, my dirty hands, my levamisol, all that stuff. And then we will pass it to the next. Pass the duchy to the left-hand side. Lemma, what species of Betta can live as a community colony besides Imbolus? All Bettas, pretty much, can live as a colony if you have enough room or the right tank. I even know somebody in my area, a very nice guy named Chase. I did a tour of his house about 3 years ago, 4 years ago, maybe, on the channel. And Chase, he was breeding puffers. He was breeding Caridina shrimp. He had Dancing Man shrimp, which at the time were $500 Caridina shrimp each, and from Germany, from this gal named Monica. But the last thing I'll say is that the Macaensis, the big ones, the big old, or no, Macrostoma, sorry, not the Macaensis. Macaensis are nicer and smaller, but the Macrostomas, the big ones that are like pike cichlids almost, they're just mean, and their mouth, anything that fits in it will go into it and die, and they jump out of the tank. I tried them. Mine got through a lid on the tank several times. When I was doing a water change, both jumped out, and then they got a skin infection, and then they died. It was a nightmare. And they were $200 a piece. They were a gift from the same guy. But go back and watch his video. He actually had a group of like 10 of them, 15 of them living in green water. It was just so green and so full of plants. They literally couldn't see each other. So they could sense each other enough to mate once in a while. But there were, I mean, he had 100 fry in there and 15 adults in I think it was a 90 gallon or 120 gallon. So it was a big setup. But I'm just saying, in theory, you can have, if you do it right, you can have a colony breeding situation for all bettas. They all live in a seasonal environment that turns into puddles and dry spots frequently, and whatever's left there, they have to get along or kill each other. And it might be why they evolve so aggressively, is because so many dry out, that so many are inevitably going to die anyways, that they might as well show their total battle prowess and their strength by fighting so fiercely. Just a thought of mine. But they really need covers, and lots and lots of stuff in there to colony breed properly, usually. Sometimes you can get away with like 1 male and 6 females and have whatever you want set up. But basically follow the same advice for like gouramis too. I'm going to go, I know I'm trampling over Fish Room Fever, and I love his show, so I don't want to do that. I'm going to shut up now. You guys have been incredible tonight, so charitable. I'll be on the podcast talking about 10 things. The podcast, the Aquarius podcast, not the Aquarium guys, who I'm usually on their podcast. Love you, bros. But yeah, jump into Fish Room Fever, you guys, if you want to, and give him some love. Why don't you use hashtag Alex Attack or hashtag history hijinks or hijack. I don't know, whatever. Say whatever you want, but say you're give him some love from me. Let him know that you guys, that I think he's a sweetheart and well-educated gentleman. All right, guys, have a wonderful night. I'm going to peel a gourd with my wife, who's got a knife, and do the same. I mean, if you guys have gourds to peel away. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow about the contest. I've got a sty under my eye. That's going to be fun. Hot rag time. Bye, guys. Hello, my darling. Hello, my baby. Hello, my ragtime gal.